If anyone had told me years ago that I would one day find true love again, I would have laughed bitterly and walked away. You see, I once thought love was a scam, something people used to disguise their selfish desires. I used to think all the sweet promises were just lies people told to make you drop your guard. But life has a way of teaching us that pain doesn't have to be the end, sometimes it's the beginning of something better. I grew up in Lagos, born to a hardworking mother who owned a small building materials shop in Maryland. From the time I was old enough to hold a ledger, I was in that shop. My mother used to say, "Lola, this business is what fed us when your father walked away. Learn it well, you'll thank me later." I didn't know that one day, this same business would become my pride and survival. After my university days, I fell in love, or so I thought. His name was Connor. He was charming, ambitious, and always had a way with words. We dated for 3 years. I gave him everything, my time, my savings, my trust. Until one morning, I woke up to find out that he was engaged to someone else. Not just anyone, but a girl I considered my friend. I can still remember how my chest felt that day, like something inside me cracked open. Betrayal doesn't always come with loud noise, sometimes, it comes quietly, through the people you trusted most. For months, I couldn't eat, couldn't smile. I would go to the shop just to keep myself busy, but every nail, every cement bag, every customer's voice echoed the pain I was trying to forget. I built walls around my heart, promising myself that no man would ever get close again. I decided I would just focus on work, save money, take care of my mother, and live a quiet, safe life. But life had other plans. It started on a hot afternoon in Benin City. I had traveled there to buy some new materials from a supplier. The deal took longer than expected. That's where I met him, Osamudium. I noticed him first, completely lost in thought, with a pencil tucked behind his ear and a small paper in hand. He also came to help a close client source for some materials, as I later got to know. We had to sit together while the suppliers arranged our goods. We got talking and often he smiles. It wasn't one of those forced smiles men give when they want to impress you. It was warm, like sunlight through a window. We talked briefly, mostly about Lagos and Benin. He told me he was an architect working on a new housing project around Sopio Road. I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I just enjoyed the conversation. A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Hello, is this Omolala from Marvel Building Materials?" The voice was familiar but I couldn't place it immediately. It was him, Osamudium. Apparently, he'd gotten my contact through a business card I left with the supplier. I laughed when he told me, half surprised, half flattered. That was how it began, slowly, quietly, like rain that starts as a drizzle before becoming a downpour. At first, I tried to keep things formal. I told myself I wasn't ready for anything serious. But Osamudium had this gentle persistence that was hard to resist. He didn't push too hard, he just showed up with consistency. He would call to ask if I'd eaten. He'd send random photos of his architectural sketches, asking for my opinion as if my words mattered. And most importantly, he never tried to rush things, he just made space for me to come around. There's something about not being rushed that melts even the hardest heart. Slowly, I began to open up. I told him about Connor and the betrayal, about how I stopped believing in love. He didn't say sorry in that pitying way people often do. He simply said, "Lola, sometimes God allows something to break so he can build something stronger." That sentence became the foundation of everything that came after. For months, we grew close. He visited Lagos often, and sometimes I traveled to Benin. He would take me to quiet places, the Oba's Palace grounds, Ikon Road, and sometimes the top of unfinished buildings where he was working. We would sit there, talking about our dreams. He told me he wanted to design homes that made people feel peace the moment they stepped inside. I told him I wanted to expand my mother's business into a big supply company. We both laughed at how ambitious we sounded, but deep down, it felt like we could actually make it happen together. Then came the test. When Osamudim told his mother about me, she didn't take it well. "A Yoruba girl?" she asked in shock. "After all the fine Edo girls here." She wasn't rude, just deeply traditional. She worried that I wouldn't fit in, that our cultures would clash. I didn't blame her. Nigeria is full of stories of tribal differences tearing families apart. But it still hurt. For weeks, Osamudim tried to convince her, but she refused to give her blessing. I told him maybe it was a sign that we weren't meant to be. But he looked me in the eyes and said, "Lola, love is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be real." One day, without telling me, he brought his mother to Lagos. I didn't even know she was coming. He simply called and said, "My mother is here. I want her to meet you." My heart almost stopped. That morning, I was in jeans and a simple top, covered in cement dust from the shop. When I saw her, I wanted to run away. But she just stood there, looking at me quietly, and then said, "So, you are the one that has stolen my son's heart." We both laughed, awkwardly at first, then genuinely. I served her food I got from a nearby restaurant, told her about my business, and showed her photos of my late mother who started it all. As we talked, something softened in her eyes. She saw that I wasn't some flashy city girl out to ruin her son. I was just a woman who worked hard, loved deeply, and wanted peace. Before she left that evening, she said, "Osamudim, this one has a good spirit. Take care of her." That was her silent blessing. Our wedding planning was a mix of chaos and joy. My best friend, Kemi, became my rock. She helped me with every detail, from choosing Oswebi colors to calming me when I panicked over small things. She was the sister I never had. She kept saying, "Lola, you deserve this happiness. Don't let fear steal it from you." And truly, she was right. We had our traditional wedding, surrounded by family, drummers, laughter, and the smell of native soup. The Yoruba side danced joyfully, and the Edo side sang their traditional songs proudly. It was a fusion of cultures, colors, and love. When I looked at Osamudim in his native attire, smiling at me like I was his answered prayer, I realized how far we had come, from heartbreak to healing, from fear to faith. Our church wedding followed a few weeks later. It rained that morning, and I remember my heart sinking. But as I walked down the aisle, the sun broke through the clouds, shining through the church windows. Everyone said it was a sign of blessing, but to me, it was more than that. It was a reminder that light always returns, even after the darkest nights. Marriage itself wasn't a fairy tale. We had our share of misunderstandings. Sometimes our cultural differences caused more clashes, how I wanted things done one way, and how he saw it differently. But each time, we remembered why we started. We learned to meet in the middle, to talk, to listen, to apologize without pride. There were nights when I cried silently, overwhelmed by the weight of expectations, but he would pull me close and whisper, "Lola, we are still building. Let's keep building." Now, years later, when I look back, I realize love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing someone again and again, even when it's hard. It's about patience, kindness, forgiveness, and growth. Betrayal broke me once, but love, real love, healed me. Sometimes, when I'm sitting outside our house, watching Osamudim sketch with our little daughter playing nearby, I smile to myself. I smile because I remember that broken-hearted girl who thought love was over for her. If only she knew that God was saving her for something better. I've learned that the heart can love again, not because it forgets the pain, but because it learns what love truly means. Love isn't what people say in promises, it's what they show in patience. It's in the man who waits for you to heal. It's in the woman who learns to trust again. It's in the mother who looks beyond tribe and sees the goodness of a soul. So, if you're listening to me right now and your heart has been broken, don't close it forever. Don't let one person's betrayal define how you see love. There are still people who mean their words. There are still men who value honesty and women who carry grace. You just have to heal first so you can see clearly when real love shows up. As for me, Omolala, I found love again, true, patient, enduring love. It wasn't dramatic or rushed, it was built, piece by piece, like a house with strong foundation. And every day, I still choose to keep building it. Because after all, real love isn't something you find once, it's something you keep choosing over and over again.